Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to RaceFace.Pro. My name is Stephen Koenig, and you are joining us here at the beautiful Circuit of America out in Houston, Texas, and it is going to be a wild race here tonight for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And looking over to our virtual grandstands, we have got everyone joining in: Alan Patterson, David Van Veek, biggest and baddest, Lloyd Gathering, I do apologize. And Samuel Bukes going and saying, how's the Samuel? Still recovering after his major impact he actually had. So he's getting a little bit of repair work after the Nürburgring incident was the one that took you out, if I remember clearly, last week. That being said, let's quickly have a rundown of our championship because it's a bit of a wild one. So, first place is Daniel de Villiers, leading on 203 points. Dean Orkia running in second place on 179 points. Gerrit Bukes, who should be out on the track, is running in third. Johan Blicknout in fourth. Ruan van der Walt in fifth. Henry Platt in sixth with Herman Provical in seventh. Christoph Peterson running in eighth. Brandon Kruger in ninth and 10th places. Chris Collison, followed by Jason Farmer. Richard van Heerd in 12th. Tierna Spuerta in 13th. Michael Donaldson. Paul Fenter, along with Conor Bergstrom. Macondo in 17th. 18th is Jeffrey Leroux, Jean Fafiers, Brandon Santos, Chris Biermester, Henk Petersen, Viertia Buerta, Dune van Skulkfake, along with Hansi Myberg, Tyron Lidden, Kiwe Masu, running down 27th, Sheldon Agallis, Tristan Herbs, Elwin Prim, Ruan Liebenberg, along with Timothy Pillay. Tyler Humphreys will round out the pack. But that being said, qualifying is underway at this beautiful circuit of Americas. So good to have everyone here in the beautiful likes of Houston, Texas. A bit of interesting changes have gone through. Henry Mayer going and leaving Logistical Nightmare Racing, returning to his old ways and old colors of the Martini Racing. Will look to put himself towards the sharp end of the field, looking to fight it out with Johan Blicknout running in second place currently with a 205.1. Not able to get that 205.022 of Henry Mayer. Brandon Kruger running in third, and your eyes do not deceive you, both in those green Mustangs. And along with Herman Provical a little bit further down for the Ominous Gaming Nitro machines. And really trying to put his hammer down a little bit later. Been working quite hard on his car. Daniel de Villiers out in fifth place, leader of the championship. And with John Fafiers, along with Chris Collison, Tierna Spuerta, Rich van Heerd also trying to make his way around. So coming across the line now is Dean Orkia holding third place and getting ahead of Brandon Kruger. These two had a huge duke out over the weekend, so they're hoping that they can keep themselves busy with one another yet again in this monstrous fight. It's going to be a wild one. Taking a look to the commentary side, well, just down towards the pit wall, I can see the PWSR cars getting ready for tomorrow evening, but we do have Darren Miller, who will be cheering on the likes of Daniel de Villiers along with Alan Patterson. So good to see that the PWSR team going and showing a bit of force here. But it's our top six that are we to talk about, running currently in a good running order and sitting within a second of one another. So we're going to bring some of that beautiful symphony as they go around with the screaming bald eagles at the moment. Dean Orkia, though, is going to be challenging. 0.2 of a second better than his current best, and that is going to try and move him up. But Henry Mayer retaliating for the Martian Racing. And this is the Martian Racing, as we can see good old Looney Tunes back on the side of the car. So a couple of drivers still need to get a time on the board. Kerry van Zyl being one of them. Henk Petersen along with Gerrit Bukes. A little bit further down now. Gerrit's also trying to make up some time. Remember, he is running for that championship. He's third with 164 points. 19th position doesn't do him any good. Michael Donaldson just ahead of him with Conor Bergstrom trying to make up some time. Paul Fenter along with Hansi Myberg and Jacques Slater coming in for a bit of fun. Runs out a little bit wide and moving himself just gently off circuit. Very easy to do here at the beautiful circuit of Kota to fall away on the drivers, so these apexes tend to disappear as you turn in. You got to really try and look for it. Triple screens is rather helpful. VR is rather helpful because you can turn your head to see where those apexes are. Unfortunately, they do tend to walk away. Blicknote running in second place, currently 0.2 up on his best lap time, and he's got Henry Mayer just still keeping ahead. Dean O'Keefe trying to pick up the pace, and he's hoping that just maybe can be quick enough to close up the gap. So interesting times ahead, and drivers still trying to push that last little bit in the remaining 6 minutes and 45 seconds of the race. It's going to be a bit of a wild one, and let's see who will be able to start in first place. Now, for anyone that hasn't experienced COTA, there is a single part of the track that everyone tends to hate at the start of the race, and that is going to be turn 1, as they got to go through quite a hairpin to just deal with the battle at hand. As we do take a look at Blicknote, he's going to be coming across the line, and let's go to the helmet cam quickly of Blicknote, and you can see heading up to turn 1, that steep climb up the hill. As Blicknote comes across the line, he puts himself into first place. So Dean O'Keefe a little bit further down, also trying to make his way through. Now, to identify how this track just fades away, watch your apex on the left hand side. You've got to really sling the car in and try and get the head to turn just to see where it's all going. And it's going to be a tough cookie to catch out. So much time can be lost or gained as you make your way through. Tires will take an absolute beating, but in the 45-minute race, pulling in the pits is going to be absolutely devastating. So no driver wants to go in for any rhyme or reason. Tires, bodywork, anything that needs a bit of repair work, forget about it. You got to try and get it to the end. As we follow, this is Dean O'Keefe though, trying to carry as much momentum as possible, hooking the sausage curb just fine. 0.3 up on everyone, late on the anchors, down to first gear, really putting the power on, relying on that TC, and moves his way up through the order into first place and out of the way of the competition. Henry Mayer in third place will look to try and reclaim that top spot, as Blicknote and O'Keefe have knocked him off the perch. Kruger down in fourth, and Herman Profical for the Omnis Gaming Nitro. And Herman's now swapped over teams to rejoin. He's going and joining with OG for the first time. This will be in the official colors and going to be smiling ear to ear in it. So Herman hoping to make a bit of an impact here this evening for the Omnis Gaming Nitro team and the newly signed to the team. Fleming Bauer returning to his colors to join Henry Mayer, the Martian Racing. Also going away from the Logistical Nightmare Racing team, retaking the old flag and looking to really prove a point of being one of the dominating duos that have been out on the circuit in recent years. Daniel de Villiers, though, running in 7th place in the Nissan GTR. Got to take my hat off to it. The Nissan GTR, unfortunately, now is historic. After 18 years of being in production, Nissan has finally let the last car roll off the production line. As of today, it's done. The last car has left the production line of the Nissan GTR. The Godzillas are now done and dusted for wherever they may come in the future. Harry Funzel in the Mustang GT3, the Pandacity Apex team, hoping that they can make an impact here tonight. And they've been under the watchful eye of Werner Skuman. Now, I know there was a bit of an interesting chat out on the Discord. Ooh, a bit of spying going on. Yes, you heard me right. They were recently talking about newly developed strategies and radical ideas to try and get these cars a little bit quicker, especially the front engines in terms of the Mustang. And this is actually going back a little bit to Werner Skuman's earlier days of racing into the top runs. Trying to do a little bit of suspension work on the cars, get them a bit more settled, especially with the track conditions now at 27 degrees. They were worrying about a creep out of an understeer that may come in, so they've tried a different setup strategy to see if it will move them up through the order. So far, sitting in 8th place, and it shows they are moving in the right direction. Henry Platt down in 9th position, and is going to be coming across the line, absolutely smiling, along with Jean Fafiers of the Trail Bullets team, trying to make his way through. Paul Venter holding 11th position as Kerry Bukes of the Stingers Racing, trying to make his way back in for the fight. Remember, 3rd in the championship, doesn't want to be down in 12th, but not having the legs on it. This circuit is very reliant on slipstream, it's very reliant on top end, and that will come off with getting rid of some of that aero drag that comes into it. Now, for it being no problem except coming up to these S's here. 1, 2, got to really trust the car. Mechanical grip all the way, and also track limits is extremely tight to deal with, as the drivers will have to navigate that not to lose out too much time. You can already see how Conor Bergstrom going and sliding the car around as he battles to get the Mustang turned in. We will see more and more of that creep in as time has gone on. Michael Donaldson down in 14th position, as we do see Daniel de Villiers, who comes across the line. He is currently in 7th, hoping to move his way up through the order. Chris Collison for the Singers Racing comes across the line. Our UK import going and doing a good job. He's in 15th position, not wanting to lose out, as Tienes Buerta comes across the line, not able to improve. Jeffrey Leroux still trying to open up his gap, but the fastest lap time of the race set by Henry Mayer, 204.840. Dean O'Keefe, 204.872. Blicknote at 204.950. And then in 4th place is Brandon Kruger at 205.2. Herman running with a 205.4. Fleming Bauer with a 205.5. Hoping to stay ahead of Daniel de Villiers. Kerry Bukes with a 205.750. Kerry Funzel 205.8. Along with Henry Platt 205.827. Jean Fiers with a 205.992. And ironically enough, not in the Porsche. He's in a Ferrari. So that 992 is not the proper 992. As we do see our 3rd place driver now moving himself up into 7th position, hoping that he can carry a bit more momentum through. Currently 0.1 of a second up, 18 seconds left of qualifying, and it's all or nothing to be pushing it to the limit. Slipstream is absolutely needed, and for all the teams, tire wear is going to be a nightmare. 27-degree track temperature means that we're in for an absolutely wild race come the end of the race. The last 10 minutes, when those tires start jumping off a cliff, when they start going and venturing off the side of the Cape Town, the beautiful Table Mountain, or even here in Texas, everything's bigger in Texas, including the wear on these tires. Gotta say, Circuit of America, not my favorite circuit to deal with, and I know a couple of drivers do echo that statement of it's not quite the track you want to be on. Dean O'Keefe really showing what the Ferrari 296 needs to do, despite its mid-engine capability, through those S's, having the rear stepping out underneath him so he can continue on the drive. Henry Mayer still holding the top spot though. Blicknote trying to do everything he can, but I don't think he's got enough in the tank as he comes up towards the line, around the final corner, and not able to improve. So he is going to go and get himself sorted. A bit of a crash into the wall though on the way through. Not ideal, but we'll see how it all turns out. Fleming Bauer, though, trying to make his way around, will be standing on the gas. Bit of history on Fleming Bauer and Henry Mayer. They actually represented RaceFace in the Community Challenge with SimGrid, if I remember correctly. So it's good to see them out there. Jeffrey Leroux, a little bit further back, trying to make his way around the circuit, as most of the cars are now, or if not all of them, are in the pits. So Jeffrey Leroux, last car rotating out on circuit, as we do see him trying to pick up the pace. His best lap time was a 206.8. Last lap time was a 207.4. He might be able to improve it around the final corner. Flat out on the gas in the McLaren 720S Evo, and stands on the power. 17th position is where that's all going to end for him. So drivers now getting themselves ready will start putting on those race setups and ensuring they get ready to rock, roll, and, well, see what they can do at the beautiful COTA. And there's some beautiful, stunning shots of this wonderful racetrack, and also a bit of a layout. So keep an eye out for the S's. Turn 1 and the S's are generally where you're going to see most of the tire wear. The drivers are going to have to really cope with it. It is a very, very long circuit, so drivers are going to have to be well aware of that and ensure that they don't get too much wear and tear onto those tires too early on into the race. Otherwise, they will land up in a world of hurt. So we cut down back to the racetrack. You can see the beautiful GT3s all lined up. And we got Tim going and getting himself... Sorry, that's Jim. That's got the flag there. Bit of a different colored flag. Not yellow. You must go for a green one. So he gets himself ready. A safety car will be pulling away, and the drivers will catch up and start getting themselves ready. Really leaning onto the brakes, and those try and build up heat into the brakes, especially the brakes heading into turn 1, to ensure that they don't get caught out. Rotate their way through all the way back to the main straight, 70 kilometers an hour. Hold, and get going once again. A couple of other drivers in here. Ruben Heineke also joining in. Ruben Heineke, after racing in the Africa Sim Racing Festival, then jumping over, and the same day, literally gave himself about 3-4 hours before he competed in an international league called Evolution Racing Academy. So him and Jason Farmer were a part of that, and going and switching things out. I'm glad to see you haven't worn yourself out and you managed to take the flight all the way here to the Circuit of Americas in Texas, in a very, very hot Texas. That's for certain. Track temperature is starting to cool down ever so slightly, 24 degrees. Track temperature and air temperature sitting at 21 degrees. No chance of rain. It is all clear skies from here as our cars get ready to go. 24 cars will be starting this race for round 6 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. Now, as the Sprint Series goes on and on and on, we are getting closer to the end of the Sprint Series. Now, COTA, being round 6 of it, will have the likes of Alton Park and Red Bull Ring as the final circuits for the season to ensure that you can maximize points on the way through. That being said, though, let's take a look at our grid for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And it is Henry Mayer leading out the pack. Dean Norkier in second place. Johan Blicknote running in third. Brandon Kruger will be lining up against his teammate. Fleming Bauer will be running in fifth, hoping to chase down his teammate a little bit further up ahead. Herman Provical hoping that he can ensure for a fight and show off what he can do to the newly signed OG team. Daniel De Villiers looking to retain his lead in the championship, running in 7th. 8th place is Kerry Bucas, along with Kerry Van Sale. Henry Platt down in 10th. Jean Verveers in 11th position has got Paul Venter, who going to say congratulations to him on his sobriety to come, as there was no penalties he had to deal with during the course of last week. So it's going to be an interesting time for Paul Venter. Conor Bergstrom running in 13th, and Michael Donaldson, confident as ever, is lying in 14th position. Chris Collison running in 15th, along with Tennis Puerta in 16th. Jeffrey LaRue holding 17th. Rich Vanid is running in 18th for the Project Vapor team, and I do believe will be racing at Red Star this weekend. So good luck, Richard, and good luck for your racing there. Run for the Vault, his team will have chased down his teammate a little bit more. Run for the Vault in 19th. Hansi Myberg holding 20th position. Nolan Prim a little bit further down in 21st. Brandon Santos running in 22nd position for the Griffin Sim Racing team. And Jacques Slater in 23rd. Henk Pedersen rounding out the pack as drivers will get themselves ready to rock and roll. And we're getting some shots back of the race. Now, if this is your first time joining us here in the world of RaceFace.Pro, a big welcome to you guys. Seeing that you guys are ready to rock and roll. We are getting reports of Brandon Kruger, unfortunately, going and having a disconnect, and hopefully they can get him back in the car and get him back out there. So David Van Wyk giving us that bit of information. A big shout out to Mr. Van Wyk for that little bit of info. Hopefully they can get him back in the car and get him back and going. Henry Mayer leads out the pack against Dean Norkier, hoping they can get themselves, and we are getting reports though, Brandon Kruger has returned, but will be starting from pit lane. So a bit of hard work on his part to try and make up the ground. Once the green flag glows, he's got 30 seconds to wait during that time before his car will then be released out the pit for him to rejoin the race. So not going to be ideal circumstances for him, but is going to still get ready to rock and roll. So interesting times indeed. Henry Mayer has gone out and shown the world what RaceFace can do, is lining up against Dean Norkia, who's shown what Africa can do. As these two look to fight it out, Blicknote will put his nose in. Now his teammate not quite there. Means that he's going to have to rely on the newly signed teammate of Herman Provocol to give him a little bit more backup during the course of this race as they round the final corner. 70 kilometers an hour. Back it off. Wait for the green as we wait for Jim to call out. Lights on, lights on, lights on. Come on, anytime now, anytime now. Oh man, it always feels like such a long time. They've got to get to the line, and lights off. We're racing, folks, as we launch off the line. Hansi Myberg trying to get the run as Henry Mayer takes the lead ahead of Dean Norkia. Is going to go around the outside. Can he keep it all together? Runs out a little bit wide. Blicknote immediately trying to put his nose in. Herman losing out the drivers. Got Fleming Bauer going and hunting him down to see where he can go. Herman losing out that position as we are having little scuffles with drivers just rubbing and racing all through the pack. Herman and Claire Bukes doing everything they can. De Villiers a little bit further down. It's got Henry Platt, Paul Fenter trying to make up some time. Jean Verfiers. Oh, we do have a bit of contact as Verfiers joins the circuit. Tiernas Buerta gets on by, and now Jeffrey LaRue also having a go at him. Lots and lots of little accidents happening. Let's quickly go back off the start of that race and just see happening into turn one. Now, it's always such a difficult case as we do see LaRue and Huntsy trying to get a run. And this is watching Connor Bergstrom as he gets stuck 3-4 wide. Ooh, contact. And it was just bang, bang, bang. All they go. And rejoining. So definitely a tough time there. But for Fears, all the way down the order, you can see he got some damage to his car. So does Michael Donaldson as they try and power their way through. Ruan van der Walt and Kerry van Sale looking to stay in for the fight. Hansi Myberg and Brandon Kruger, who has now left pit lane, is looking to try and close up the gap to the pack. Dean Norkia going defensive, a quick touch of the brakes as he tries to get the car to pivot round and losing sight of Henry Mayer ever so slightly. Blicknote constantly hounding him, and that Mustang on the early attack. Fleming Bauer up into fourth place is now going to follow. Line astern, the cars will go. Kerry van Sale trying everything he can. Donaldson having a look to try and keep going as Ruan van der Walt tried for the dive, had to wait it out. Goes side by side with Jean Verfiers. Oh, and it looks like Michael Donaldson nearly into the back of Van Sale. And Verfiers losing out, going and gaining, and losing out a little bit of ground into the right-hander. And way wide. Man, oh man, you couldn't get any wider if you tried. As that is Donaldson out into the middle of nowhere as he tries to rejoin the circuit and going very, very slow. Norkia very defensive at the top of the hill into turn one, and out of turn one he goes with the likes of Blicknote as we are starting to see some cars into the pits. Michael Donaldson being one of them, and Connor Bergstrom into the pit lane as well. So we've lost Donaldson and Bergstrom in that single lap of the two. Not ideal runnings for them, and let's quickly see if we can see what happened to the 97. Carrying a bit of damage to his car. And that must have been from the earlier contact. And, yep, dives into pit lane. So, nothing untoward there other than previous damage that went into the back of another car. And, oh, missed the pit lane as well. Couldn't quite get it turned in. And that, unfortunately, has cost him a heap load of time. That's why we always say, practice the pit lane. It's going to catch you out. One retirement thus far of the race. As we are getting a bit of reports there. Daniel De Villiers having a bit of contact, as we do see that is Karabukas. Goes out very, very wide. The 333 having a bit of contact. So there's Daniel De Villiers in Nissan GTR. The 93 chasing down the 333. Carrot in the Mustang. Trying to carry a bit of momentum. Daniel De Villiers looks for the inside line. Big send on the inside. Oh man, rear quarter contact. And fortunate enough for no one else to get caught into that mess. Henry Platt, though, immediately took the dive, and Paul Fenter squirming across the nose of Henry Platt will now go onto the attack of De Villiers, who is desperately hungry for a way to move forward through the order. Ruan van der Walt dealing with Hansi Myberg, and Hansi for the first time in a long time has got Jean Verfiers going having a go at him. So we're having small fights going and breaking out, but Henry Mayer opening up his gap away from Dean Norkia Blicknote losing out a bit of time to Fleming Bauer, and Herman just staying on the mix of it as they fight their way through. I mean, this is going to be a proper run right through the order. And who is going to be able to make their way through it all, as we are getting reports. Semir Bukas going and getting a little bit frustrated, and I think he is actually one of our retirements who got caught out. Am I correct on that one? I don't see Bukas' name, but I do see that he has replied in it. So, oh man. No, there he is. There's Bukas. Do apologize. Let's go Bukas. Semir Bukas going and watching out for the likes of Carrot. Brothers. Am I correct, Semir? Is it brothers or cousins, family members? I'm quite curious now. Same name. Same surname. Just want to make sure if it's brothers. As we do see Henry Platt onto the back of Paul Fenter. They're losing sight of Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. And a little bit of late braking. Jacques Slater has also been on a great job. He's got Kerry Van Zyl having a good go at him. And Jacques Slater hoping that he can carry just a little bit more momentum, while Van Zyl looks on the inside. That Mustang has got the legs on the Ferrari 296 and will hold the inside line over the apex. Can he keep it going? A little bit tight on the exit. That's going to allow Jacques Slater on the Martini flavor to go and make his way through. A little bit of a bottle up at the back though, as Ruam van der Walt tries to keep ahead of Brandon Santos, who's got Hansi Myberg all over the back of him. Brandon Santos also sporting a fair amount of damage, will be dead weight in the straight line. And Hansi Myberg capitalizing on the moment. Looks for the inside, late on the anchors. Can the McLaren go and get it right? And he does. Beautifully done. Wife. Fair enough. Sorry about that. Oh, makes sense. Sorry. It's always a bit of a difficult one where I tend to stuff those things up. Apologies, Mrs. Bukas. As we see Brandon Kruger. Now remember, Brandon Kruger started from pit lane. He is now up into 19th position ahead of Brandon Santos and trying to make his way through the order. So good seat, and drivers making their way around. John Fears also making short work of Brandon Santos as he slides all the way down. Will need to get that car repaired. Massive front end damage to that Mustang. And we do see Michael Donaldson still in pit lane. It's a very long time Donaldson is sitting in the pit lane, and possibly a retirement, which is not ideal, I won't lie. And I hope not, because he is streaming out on Twitch. And if that's he's done and dusted. Oh, Paul Fenter going out. And also, first of our drive-through penalties that we were concerned about. Connor Bergstrom getting that. Paul Fenter trying to get himself right. Suddenly has Henk Petersen all over the back of him. Connor Bergstrom now needing to get himself sorted. And it looks like Connor actually retired the car as well. Not a good showing there. So 2 retirements thus far. Michael Donaldson and Connor Bergstrom retiring out of the race. Brandon Santos, good on you, buddy, for heading back out onto the circuit despite your pony looking like it needs to go to the glue factory. Prit will not be happy they're not getting stock, but we happy to see you getting back on the circuit as Chris battles it out with Jeffrey LaRue and going and fighting her way through. Oh, a little bit of contact as Chris Coulson going and just leaning on the back of that McLaren ever so slightly, saying, don't worry, buddy, I'm right here. As soon as you get tired, I'm coming for you. And it's all about the Mustang power, ironically, driven by the Brits. So Chris, hoping that he can keep in for the fight, is our closest fight to Jeffrey LaRue, and is currently the closest fight out on circuit. So ultimately, that is it. A lot of talking going in about Paul Fenter's choice. Now, I want to confirm to everyone, I have spoken to Paul Fenter, because he's been racing that Honda over the course of pretty much all the races, and even in international competitions been battling with his car and car choice. He originally thought it would be the big win for him. Unfortunately, not the case, and he has confirmed that after this season the Honda will be retired under Paul Fenter's hands. He's not going to be driving that car any further, will be switching it back out to a front engine vehicle. He is looking into that. So might see the return of the Aston Martin. We might see the big old Boatley come and make a return as well. We are starting to see Kifu going and saying, apologize for all drivers involved in the incident. It was all my fault. Going and reporting back to lap 1's incident. And one thing I have to say though, Michael, is you're still there. Get your backside back in the car and get back out. You have no excuse to stay in pit lane. None whatsoever. As Hansi Myberg has ventured towards the wall. What on earth happened to Hansi Myberg? The 526 getting all out of shape. So he had the likes of, that would be, oh, that was one of the McLarens. That was the 48. Oh, Jean Verveer's on the back of him. They were chasing down Ruben van der Velde. Oh, he just got touched and speared him into the wall. So Hansi Myberg taking that little bit of impact. Unfortunately, also looks like he may have retired the car. Yes, he has, which is rather unfortunate, come to think about it. Man, oh man, not ideal. Still repairing the damage, so that is going to be that. So Mark Johnson confirming he will be going back out of the car. I'm guessing there's roughly more than 3.5 minutes worth of damage on that car. Good thing you're not doing iRacing, otherwise you're going to be spending 48 hours in the pits in a 45-minute race after the damage of it. Trust me, I know. It happened. It's terrible. Herman, though, out in 5th place, is fighting out with Fleming Bauer. Good to see. Now, Herman's been on a steady climb throughout the course of the seasons, and this season going and really showing what he can do from early on in the racing, going back to the likes of Snetterton. He put in a huge effort to fight his way up and said, yeah, no, he's going for 11th. And eventually landed up being into the top 5. So he was quite happy with that. So good to see that he's moved up through the order nice and gently to stay in for the fight. Chris Collison keeping the back of LaRue in sight as they chase each other down. LaRue hoping that he just has a little bit more in the tank. As we jump on board, you can see getting slightly unsettled as he tries to utilize all the rumble strips as Chris keeps the pressure on. That Mustang definitely having lots of legs on him and looking for the overtake. Chris tried, goes and forces him off the apex, gets the drive, slips across. Oh man, that is not how you do it. And unfortunately, it landed up with LaRue hard into the wall. Let's go back 30 seconds. Let's take a look from the helicam because we're in car for it. And this was a bit of an ouchie moment. Chris Collison did what he could to try and force LaRue to miss the apex, which he did successfully. LaRue outbrakes himself. He swings it across, and bang. There we go. Unfortunately, didn't move too much to the left, and LaRue, trying to avoid the grass, that little bit of rear contact sent him flying into the wall. And now Paul Fenter having a go at him. And Paul Fenter, after taking some time and witnessing that little accident, will be going and scratching his head saying, okay, now how am I going to get past without getting caught out by the Mustang, getting stung by the Stingers at this point? Well, Logistical Nightmare Racing is having exactly that, a logistical nightmare of a situation ahead of him, needing to figure out how to get the drive. Oh, slides it out with the little Honda and hoping to keep in the tow, heading up towards turn 1. It is going to be absolutely crucial to try and get the drive out of turn 1. Down the gears. Oh, missed his braking marker. Turns in. And that unfortunately cost him a little bit of time. You can see fighting at the steering wheel, yanking, soaring away at it, trying everything he can to get the momentum here as he comes across through the S's. Oh, once again, car fishtailing underneath him. Oh, still battling. Definitely not happy about it. And immediately Chris opening up that gap, saying thank you very much, having that little bit more breathing room in the race. So great stuff there. I see Donaldson still in the pits though. Don't think repair time takes you that long, Mr. Donaldson. As we do see Herman losing out the drive. Henry Platt gets past him. Herman going to play a little bit of a team game here, as we do have LaRue into pit lane. What on earth happened to LaRue? Now, we did see after his initial contact that put him into the wall, he's busy trying to drive that McLaren back after some hefty impact, and this is through the S's, so this is past the start-finish line now. Instead of getting into the pits, he's going to just try and keep cycling it through. And did it snap underneath him? Yeah, it just didn't want to slow down, and opting to rather tow the car back to pits, and hopefully LaRue can get that car sorted out to carry on the race. And that's so unfortunate after been doing so well till that time. Oh, a little bit of side by side argy-bargy. Chris Collison getting a little bit of taste of his medicine while the space running out of notes as Paul Fenter sneaks on by. Now Paul's got to go and battle it out with Chris Collison. Not going to back down from this fight. He does look for the inside as he fishtails around, but still putting on a momentous drive. Paul Fenter now needs to keep him well in check as a 0.8 of a second. That's where the Mustang's got the legs, and where the BOP tends to come in the Mustang's favor. 29 minutes and 50 seconds left. Henry Mayer leads out the pack with the fastest lap time in the race with a 2:05.30. Dean Orkier runs in second place. Johan Blicknote, Fleming Bauer, Daniel De Villiers, Henry Platt, Herman Provical, along with Gerard Bucas, along with Richard van Heerden. Paul Fenter in that top 10, just out of the top 10 and fighting it out. Chris Collison along with Kerry van Zel, Henk Petersen, Elton Prim, Jean Verveers, Ruan van der Walt, Jacques Slater, Brandon Santos, Jeffrey LaRue, and still Michael Donaldson in the pits. Not to be that guy, Michael, but my math isn't the best in the world. But so far, 800 odd seconds in pit lane is a little bit more than 3 minutes. And the maximum amount of damage that was done to that can be done in the car, correct me if I'm wrong here, is roughly about 3 minutes plus, ultimately, I would think. Rich van Heerden going and landing, also pulling off a circuit, and it looks like he may be going for a retirement. What on earth happened to Rich van Heerden? He is completely stopped. Wow. Okay, and towed back to pits. So something's gone on with Richard van Heerden. Gentle stop and pull over. That's only going to help out through the course of the race. Herman all over his own teammate as they chase the way through. So definitely some tough racing nonetheless. And we do have two more looks like we may have some more retirements, unfortunately, in the race, and one of them is Rich van Heerden. Drive-through penalty for Ruan van der Walt, though, and that is going to hurt his way, as he's going to have to try and figure out what's the next step. Henry Platt, Herman, and Gerard Bucas all chasing each other. Now, Bucas has an opportunity here to put his nose in, but is in a little bit of a teammate sandwich, as the ominous gaming Nitro, Herman Pervical, who is trying to defend with Henry Platt just ahead of him. I won't lie, there's going to be a little conversation, a little birdie in the air, I would think, saying go, 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 and Herman's starting to show his nose on Henry Platt, saying, come on, buddy, if you ain't going to go for it, I'm going to have to break away, as Karapuka is going to keep the pressure on right now, as we down to 18 cars, 24 started, and now we are just dropping. So this is going to be a wild one. So far, 2 drive-through penalties have been issued during the course of this race. And it's one thing that Alan Patterson, one of our fastest sim racers in ACC for commentary, going and saying that he's expecting to see a lot more of it during the course of it. I mean, this circuit does lend itself to all the drive-through penalties. Couple of racing royalties jumping in. We have got Zaya Essa going and saying, how's it? Mordred Claessen's also a driver that went and raced this past weekend in the Africa Festival. Did a darn good job, old Mordred Claessen. So from my side, Mordred, well done, bud. Saw you defending out there. It was good stuff. I think Werner Skuman can be rather proud on that effort. Henry Platt, though, not going to be too proud to have his own teammate. Now, the Omnis Gaming Nitro team is the sister team, but it is the secondary team. It's instead of the Red Bull, it's the what do they call it now? The Visa Racing Bulls, insert next name here, sort of team. Well, that is what the Omnis Gaming Nitro team is. And Herman is giving Henry a good going at this point, saying, "Come, giddy up and go." Karabukas at the moment is running 3rd in the championship. He's running 8th at the moment. He needs to gain a little bit of time. At the moment, though, he is running ahead of the likes of Kruger, who I don't see in this race anymore. So Kruger is completely out of it. That means that he needs to get close enough to Daniel, the Hitman DeVilliers, who's running in 5th place at current. So let's go through our running order as we got 25 minutes, 25 and a half minutes. Henk Peterson, though. My sir, that is not where you meant to go. And that is the remnants of our pit board. No, it's not our pit board. It's just our total. That's a bit of sponsorship signage as Henk Peterson goes behind his teammate. And yep, there it goes. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Nice knowing you. Moving on, going and shifting the boards a little bit. Giving a bit of advertising in a very unique way. Still connected to the vehicle. Herman, closest fight on circuit. Going and pushing the likes of Henry Platt a little bit harder. Ruben van der Walt serving his drive-through penalty. And instead of going and throwing it out through the toys out of the cot, he is continuing to go on. And yeah, well, Alan Patterson bringing up a very good point. Added downforce. Now, does that count as active aero? Considering he had lots of aero heading into the corner, turn the corner, aero comes off. He's now got less drag, DRS system open. Because if I remember correctly, active aero is outlawed in GT3 racing at current. Urban getting caught up behind the likes of Henry Platt, though. Going to be saying he's going to outlaw Henry Platt at this point. And this is only helping Karabukas at the moment as he tries to tail on and just see where he can go. Good fighting of the two teammates ahead, but Karabukas is going to be more than happy to try and close down this gap. Currently 0.4 of a second. Last corner, and this is where he tends to lose out that little bit of drive. Herman trying to utilize a little bit of slipstream, but is getting eaten alive here, as we do see Daniel de Villiers making his climb up the hill, and it is tremendous stuff. Let's quickly go on board, and you can see suddenly this incline as he goes up and up and up and up and up. And hold on the brakes, quick left, try and get it done. Oh, super close to the 44 of Herman at the moment, and trying his luck. Herman gets the drive out and immediately puts the pressure back onto Henry Platt, trying to egg him on. Ruben van der Walt, though, done his drive through, carries on. Brandon Santos, despite all the damage, is still going. And a return to the track. Give it up for Rich van Heerd. Obviously, there was a problem that went on that caused him to stop, get back to the pits, and having to reconnect. Well, he's back out on track and not throwing in the towel just as yet. Absolutely fantastic to see from our drivers and really putting in the hard work. I'm going to call out a driver, though, one that went and said that the car was getting major repair work done to it and will be, getting the repair work done. Michael Donaldson, calling you out, buddy. You're missing on circuit. So just a bit of a call there. As we do see Henry Platt trying to do everything he can. Oh, Henk Peterson into the farm belt again. And unfortunately, it looked like he lost the rear. Gets back into pits and having to get towed back as well. Not ideal circumstances for him, but that is going to help Jacques Slater and Ruben van der Walt to gain a position at this point. And it does look like we did lose him as well, as Herman trying to go around the outside of Henry Platt. Gets the door close. Oh, man, got bottled up by his own teammate. And Karabukas going into them. I mean, this is going to be a monster one. Hansi, yeah, we saw you come to a halt into the wall. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. We'll call you out on that one, but I'll call you out next week. Don't stress. I will not mention that you're not finishing the race this time around. Instead, you're sitting in the grandstands. We will not mention that. But not ideal circumstances. And yeah, that was a bit of an impact of note. So we'll see how it goes. Herman currently staying on the back of Henry Platt. Bit of an interesting one, and this goes down to the question amongst teammates. Henry Platt is in the main team, and you've got the secondary team chasing you down. That seems to be a bit quicker. Looking at the lap times, it's very, very close in lap times. Herman actually slightly quicker. And, oh, completely misses that corner. And Bucas says thank you. So, just as I was talking about it, it all changed. And Bucas is going to be quite happy and getting a bit of a cheer on from the family as he takes that 7th position for the Singers Racing and still giving him a little bit more of a chase. 20 minutes and 40 seconds left of this race. 17 cars still circulating at this current point. Henry Mayer, 5.7 seconds ahead of Dean Nokia, along with Johan Blicknote running in 3rd. Fleming Bauer in 4th place. Daniel de Villiers in 5th. Henry Platt going in 6th with Gerrit Bucas. Herman Povical along with Paul Fenter. And 10th position is Chris Collison for now, as he's got Kerry Van Sale also in the Mustang, chasing him down in 11th. Alan Prem a little bit further back with Jean Verveers, who's unfortunately lost his teammate, Jacques Slater, down in 14th. 15th is Ruan van der Walt, Brandon Santos, and Rich Van Eerd rounding out the pack, and he is still going for the Project Vapor team, doing an absolutely phenomenal job on this part to just try and keep that little bit of momentum. John Fears in the slipstream, lining himself up. Will the Ferrari 296 be able to out-drag the McLaren? Get late on the anchors and onto the power. That turbocharged V6 going to make its way around the circuit and do quite a good job as he continues on the momentum. Gotta say, not a big fan of the Ferrari 296. The asthma pump on the V6 does not work out, and a bit sad that they dropped the V8 naturally aspirated. Going and talking about the V8, so Kerry Van Zyl, oh, bang in the wall. I'm going to just look away. I didn't say anything. You can't prove anything. Commentator's curse never existed. My name's Jeff. What else can I say? That was a big one for Gerrit Van Zyl, and it all went wrong so quickly for the 118. I mean, let's actually go and take a look on board with him as he was in the tow, try to pull himself along. Now, there's also going to be a little bit of dirty air coming into play, and that means that he's got no pressure on the nose. He runs out wide, tail snaps out, and immediately, bang, hard impact into the wall. Can see immediately that front suspension, not a happy camper, and will have to get itself repaired. So not ideal circumstances. Alan, I don't know what you're talking about. I plead the 5th. I did some stuff last night, and that's that. I plead the 5th. Oh man, I plead ignorance. Can't prove a thing. Well, what we can prove though is Henry Platt, Gerrit Bucas now. Henry Povical trying to make up some time, and Bucas really giving a bit more of a chase. Now we saw Bucas was on a hot charge onto the back of Herman. Now can he give the charge to Henry Platt as he looks to try and take that 6th position away and score a little bit more places up through the order? No, you can't prove a thing. You can't prove at the moment. You're wrong. There's only 17. So there isn't 25. There's 17. Philip Minard going and shouting in. And a big shout out to Mr. Minard. For anyone out there who doesn't know, he is determined and is a recognized Africa's Sim Racing Festival 2025 champion. The fastest in Africa for ACC, and second to hold the crown. First was the likes of Jordan Sherritt. So, Mr. Minot, absolutely great stuff. Glad to have you, and congratulations on your successful run. You did it, the whole of South Africa proud, as we do see Henry Platt getting checked out by Gerrit Bucas, and Bucas now going and doing everything he can. A little bit of free prostate checked as he went under braking. Couldn't quite get that drive, and continues going. Oh, Alan, I will. I'll make this family friendly, so there's no comments that can be allowed. Oh gosh, when you get called out by the community, you can't go away from it. Absolutely love it. You can't change your family, but you can change your friends. Well, too bad. We're all family here. You're going to have to deal with it. As we do see Herman trying to go late under braking. Gerrit going and pushing as hard as he can. And Henry Platt still trying his luck. The mirror's absolutely full of this Mustang, hunting him down. And for Bleed Green, well, he's going to be bleeding some pace at the moment as Bucas is utilizing that slipstream. He does lean a little bit to the left though, trying to eye it out. You can see how late he climbs onto the anchors, and that Mustang dives onto his front suspension, onto the bump stops to just get himself going. Oh, Brandon de Santos going and testing the patience of our stewards. Gets overtaken by Kerry Fontaine and has a drive-through penalty just to add to his woes as he still tries to hold it. The two Mustangs really fighting it out, but ultimately Kerry Fontaine gets that pass done and dusted. Brandon Santos will have to get into the pits in the next 3 laps to serve his drive-through penalty. Otherwise, he will be going and suffering quite a bit. So, to correct you, that's 3, Alan. There's been 3 thus far, with one that's been served, one yet to be served, and the other one scored a drive-through penalty and retired the car. 3 drive-throughs, but depending on how he does it. Now, I really do hope that Brandon Santos serves that drive-through penalty and gets back out on the track, because there's still lots of points online. This is round 6 of the championship. There's 8 rounds to this championship. You want to carry as many points as possible. No, don't worry, Alan. It's all good. Generally, you're the guy that tells me all the stuff. Haha, I finally got one up on you. It only took me 4 years to eventually get that, which is rather unfortunate. 4 years. Man, oh man. One day, when I'm big and strong. So this is going to be a tough time as Bucas really trying to throw the car around. Henry Platt as well. I've got a funny feeling though, and it leans on to Henry Platt, Bucas, and Herman Provical. They are running close to one another. I'm expecting a drive-through penalty possibly come from them. Well, Ruben van der Walt on the inside of Jacques Slater makes it look easy to get past the Ferrari 296, and Ruben van der Walt now carrying that little bit of momentum, so he's going to be smiling ear to ear on it. And well done on the inside pass. Very clean on both drivers, and both going and showing off a phenomenal drive. So Bucas, well, you got to be very careful. The missus is watching you. No misstep here. You've got to go and tango properly. Don't get a foot wrong on this as Herman starts to put the pressure on and looks for the inside line. Ooh, a little bit close to taking too much of that corner. And I've got a funny feeling Herman's also flirting with track limits, and the stewards are watching the battles up ahead. So Henry Mayer, Dean O'Keefe, Blicknote, Fleming Bauer, Daniel de Villiers, Henry Platt, and then our little train, Bucas, Herman Provical, as all keeping with one another. They look to try and push themselves out a little bit further. Paul Fenter lying in 9th, and Chris Coddleson taking that top 10 at the current, with Jean Faviers, Alan Prem, Ruben van der Walt, Jacques Slater, Kerry Fontaine, Brandon Santos in the pits and serving his drive-through penalty. So he will be getting back. Oh no, he didn't. Oh man, that is De Santos. How on earth did you get that one right? I want to take a look at this, because I saw it in shot. How did he do this right? Gets in pit lane on pit limiter, nice and gently, drives through just fine. Oh my heavens. He found the brick wall. He found the brick wall in pit lane. Man, wow, Brandon, that's a bit of a rough one there, bud. Apologies. And really didn't see that one. How you managed to catch the pit wall, I didn't even know it was possible to hit that pit wall, but you did. But big major events that's happened. Kerry Bucas having contact with Herman Provical, which landed up on our trio splitting up. So Herman looks for the inside. Oh, rear contact, just that little bit. And Bucas losing out the momentum, and Herman way back. I mean, that is just absolute pain of note. Yeah, Herman getting caught out and landing up, getting into it. So, Philip Minot echoing, it does happen. Unfortunately, he managed to do it at Veronica once. Well, fair enough. Max Verstappen managed to crash in pit lane because he didn't turn enough. So I'm not quite surprised. It's just I've never seen it on Kota. I didn't believe there was a lip there. But been proven wrong. But Brandon Santos, despite that, folks, I don't want to take away from the guy. He is still circulating, he's still going, and is still powering his way through, which is great. I've got to say, you know, you give it up for the drivers that are still circulating out there, like Brandon Santos, and even Rich van Heerd. Rich van Heerd was a total disconnect to a reconnect, and he is still circulating out in 17th position. Despite being laps down, he is still putting everything he can towards this race, and you can't dispute that fact. Henry Mayer, though, going and getting caught up as he tries to make his way around one of our Ferraris. That looks like that might have been Jacques Slater. Yes, it was. Was it Jacques Slater? Yes, it was. So Jacques Slater allowing our leader to come on by as Henry Mayer taking another lap away from him. Closest on battle fight is going to be Paul Fenter and Herman. Now, very interesting enough on these two, both running the Honda NSXs. Variety on their setup. Now, I know Paul Fenter's got a little bit of work. He got dragged to one side, grabbed by the rear ear, well, grabbed by the earlobe and pulled by Zaire Essa, saying, "Come, you and I are going to have an hour and a bit session of working your way through." He's sick and tired of seeing the Honda go all shapes and sizes in the wrong direction, and went and had a little bit of one-on-one coaching courtesy of Speed Juice. So shout out to anyone who wants to do some private coaching. Speed Juice, Zaire is a former national champion in Formula V. Actually drove a little bit of history on it. Paul Fenter drove Formula V, moved into Libra, was actually part of the board for Libra at one point in his racing career. He was part of the chairmanship of that, if I remember correctly. And for Zaire Essa, he actually drove, for many people that don't know, there was a Lotto-sponsored Formula V. And genuine. Lotto written over the whole thing, and he raced it for a good couple of years, did rather well with it. So for anyone, a little bit of history on some drivers there, it's always great to see. Lots of words for Mrs. Bucas, as she did see the likes of Ferret taking the impact. Kerry Van Zyl getting the pass on Jacques Slater. He's getting some work done on his car, trying to get it all sorted out. So closest on circuit by 1.8 seconds is Paul Fenter and Herman. Now Herman trying to get away, cooling down those tires enough just to stay in for the race, but these last 8 minutes and 34 seconds left, it's going to be a tough call and a tough ask. So at current though, Henry Mayer putting in a huge effort, 7.5 seconds ahead of Dean Norkier, who must be absolutely fighting it. Alan Patterson, that livery must have looked cool. I would agree. It probably looks very cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't put well on awesome liveries, so we're not able to pull it up. But if you do have the livery, I do know Alan Patterson does do some custom liveries, some really good ones. Best one ever made, and he admits it, even better than the PWSR natural colors. There was actually two of them, and that was the likes of our Herbie, the Porsche, and the dummy car. Best two liveries. As Herman gets a drive-through penalty, Paul Fenter going to be smiling ear to ear on this one. And for Herman, from bad to worse. Now he's just moving left to right, and just trying to give the signal to Paul Fenter, just go, 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 as Paul carries on the momentum. And unfortunately for Herman, from bad to worse, drive-through penalty added on right at the end. That's going to be going and make his way through. Yes, I remember Herbie and the test drive dummy car. And the test drive dummy car got us in trouble with the admin of the Carl Army 9 hour at the time because it wasn't professional. Yet we actually did well on it. And Herbie was the only Porsche to ever have a chrome bumper on it. So it was the only Porsche in ACC to ever have a chrome bumper. No one's else ever done it. So that's definitely it. And Samir going and saying, there is the red block. Well, yes, it is, but it's not for Bucas. It is for Herman, who will need to serve that drive-through penalty, and he does dive into the box to get it done. Bit of time being made up, though. Henry Platt and the likes of Kerry Bucas now 1.5 seconds. Now, remember, this was quite a bit of momentum that is needed to close up the gap, and now it's a fighting chance for Bucas to get into it. So, absolutely great to see it. And Philip Menard going and saying that the rear diff is welded off an E30. Well, that's pretty much at it, eh? That is pretty much at it. And Alan Patterson echoing that 4th drive-through penalty we've seen in this race. And Herman dropping out of the top 10 for it. I mean, Herman going and saying not at all. Herman the straights is not fun. I perfectly agree on that one. But give him his due, despite being able to text, the driver still gets out and gets going. So respect. But remember, rules of the road. Do not text and drive. You successfully did it. Go serve yourself another drive-through penalty for breaking the rules of the road. That, or it's going to be getting some takeaways, that's for certain. So Herman just out of that top 10 now, sitting in 11th position, trying to maximize his time as Henry Platt starting to feel the pressure. And it looks like that Aston Martin, and it's looking very close to it. The Aston Martin not slowing down as much as it was at this point. Tires have taken that beating and now starting to lose out that ground. And here it's trying to make up some time as they make their way around the circuit. 5 minutes officially left of this race here at the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series, and Claire Bucher's 1.3 seconds back. Now, we have been talking about a variety of drivers. Everyone else is now, I'm not even going and breaking this up. Everyone else is 8 seconds plus away from one another. So far, closest fight on circuit, 1.3 seconds. Between these two, the Stingers Racing and the Omnius Gaming 2025 Aston Martin of Henry Platt. So Claire Bucher's trying to close down that gap and do everything he can to stay in for the fight. It's going to be a bit of a wild one though, to try and continue on this little drive and see where they can go. As Claire Bucher's now down to a second on Henry Platt, and that is telling me that the Aston Martin is starting to run out of steam here in the last portion of the race. But we've got to talk about it. Henry Mayer behind Ruben van der Walt is 9 seconds away from Dean Norkier, who is running second in the championship and is on a tremendous drive trying to make his way through. So Dean Norkier running in second, hoping that he has enough in the tank, and after having such a stellar effort over the course of the weekend to be the 3rd fastest driver in Africa for that's in a recognized MSA ASN FIA Africa race. He's done a great job there. He's holding second place. Johan Blicknote, though, can't take anything away from him. Great climb up for Johan Blicknote, and over time he's done really well. Fleming Bauer, great to see him out on track and returning to the old colors. And Daniel de Villiers getting a little bit upset as he tries to make his way through. So definitely not having the easiest time in that Nissan GTR, as we do take a look off the rear wing of Henry Platt, and Claire Bucher's immediately going and lunging for the inside. How much track limits have these guys got left to just abuse or try and get that speed? Or is it going to be the case of Henry Platt's Aston Martin going and starting to suffer from some brake fade? The tires starting to drop off, not able to slow down the car as much, where the likes of the Mustang looking a little bit more put together at this point. Late on the anchors, sends to try and see where he can go on by. Final corner though, don't want to get a drive-through penalty in the last 2 laps of this race, as he stamps on the gas, trying everything he can up through the gears, and is now in the tow. Claire Bucher's hoping that he has just enough in the tank to keep himself going into turn 1. Going to be late on the anchors, swings it in very, very late, right onto the back, has to straighten the steering up a little bit, as Henry Platt was just not quick enough to get out of the braking zone, and now is under some serious pressure. 0.8 of a second. It's going to be through the S's here. How much momentum can both drivers keep? Clara taking a lot and very flirty with those track limits. Understeer kicks in. This goes and forces him to brake that little bit more, trying everything he can to just stay on the back of the Aston Martin of Henry Platt as they start making their way through. Runs out a little bit wide and still keeping a monstrous charge. Henry just able to get that 1.3 seconds out in the last little bit. Now let's see if he can maintain it. Late on the brakes again as Claire Bucher tries to close up that gap. Drivers still going around, giving everything you got. Henry Mayer, Dean Norkier, Blicknote, Fleming Bauer, Daniel de Villiers Henry Platt, Kerry Bucas, Paul Fenter, Chris Collison, John Faviers, Herman Provical, Ellen Prim, along with likes of Ruim van der Walt, Harry Van Zyl, Brandon Santos, and Jacques Slater. And rounding out the pack though, Rich van Heerden. After his disconnect, reconnect, he is still out in style, fighting it out till the very, very last. And got to take my hats off to the drivers. Despite impacts with the wall and despite disconnects, they're still out there on the circuit. Others, unfortunately, throwing in the towel and waiting for tomorrow evening. Unfortunately, not going to be maximizing any points in this race, and will be having to sit and scratch their heads on what else can be done. Claire Bucas, though, still chasing down Henry Platt, as Henry Mayer still continues on the drive. 30 seconds left of this race, and Henry has pulled a monstrous gap, 10.2 seconds away from Dean Norkia, who is on the chase. Johan Blicknote running in third place is 6 seconds back from there. Fleming Bauer, 9.5 seconds back from him. Daniel de Villiers, 3.8 seconds back from Fleming Bauer. Henry Platt is running in sixth with 1 second behind. Claire Bukes, who knows that time is running out for him, trying to continue on the drive. As the clock strikes, it is now or never for these drivers. Last lap for them, as we will see Henry Mayer returning to the old colours, will be coming across the line to prove a point as a top running contender as he makes his way through the back end of the section. Henry Platt still feeling pressure as we see here at Bukes. Herman, unfortunately, man, he's gone the wrong way around. Spun it out of the final corner, trying to get it all restarted. Oh, my heavens, just go the other way, go the other way. Turn left. Turn left. No, he's going to try and rotate it around, making sure it's safe to do so. Kerbrooks losing out the momentum into the corners and will be suffering out there. But coming around to take the checkered flag for the Martian Racing, this is going to be Henry Mayer, smiling ear to ear at the Circuit of Americas, holding a 10.8 second gap to Dean Norkia in second place. Henry Mayer taking the win for round 6 of the GT3 Sprint Series here at RaceFace.Pro. Coming across the line now, 11 seconds back. Apologies, Dean Norkia will be smiling ear to ear on his consistent effort. Johan Blicknote will take third. Fleming Bauer will hold fourth position. 3.6 seconds behind him will be Daniel de Villiers, who's done everything he can to maintain himself into the points, holding that top 5. Just out of the top 5, though, Henry Platt opens up a 2-second gap to Gerrit Bucas, who is holding third in the championship. Well, that's all going to change now as Henry Platt comes across the line, holding 6th, with Gerrit Bucas taking 7th position. Paul Fenter will take 8th, with Chris Collison finishing up in 9th. John Faviers, 9.5 seconds back, will hold 10th. Ellen Prim, a little bit further back, will be in 11th. 12th is Herman Provical, who keeps ahead of Ruim van der Walt, Kerry Van Zyl, Brandon Santos, Jacques Slater, and Richard van Heerden, rounding out the pack. Herman busy sending GG while driving. Herman, put your hands back on the wheel, buddy. Put your hands back on the wheel. We don't do this. You don't do things like that. We understand. You got to go and keep up with your Instagram reels. Sorry, that would be your X. Got to use the X to make that work. Got to be hip, like the youngsters. Got to use X, not Twitter. That's for the old people. Herman, though, will coming around and take that 12th position overall. I'm going to be smiling ear to ear on a consistent effort. What a race, folks, held by our drivers, and what an incredible time here at Circuit of Americas for every single one of our drivers. Been a tough fight out there. Circuit of America is a tough cookie to crumble here in the world of RaceFace.Pro. The championship that can also be thrown into a huge amount of problems, especially being round 6. Now we're going to have a chat to a couple of the drivers to get their feel of how the race went and where things are. It's going to be a bit of an exciting one to sit down and have the drivers going and having a chat to us. Always love to get a bit of insight, especially with the circuit being quite hot and also a very demanding circuit on the tyres. Alan Patterson going and saying GG's and well done, and Also, cheers to everyone on the side, as he also gave some beautiful incitement of what's gone on. So, while our drivers start making their way through to our commentary box, we're going to start bringing them in roughly in order, as I do see we got second and first waiting for a discussion. So let's bring in second place, Dean Norkia, into the commentary box. Dean Norkia, welcome to the commentary box, and what a effort from your part. Bit of a close, wasn't really the closest of racing, but it looked like it was close for those track limits.
Yeah, thank you so much. It wasn't about 4 to 5 tenths on this race was very good for me. I'm actually super stoked about the racing. Obviously got beaten by a superior driver with superior experience and track knowledge, so I will never mind a loss like that. I can only learn from it. But I will take from this race is that I absolutely have never ever seen or driven this track apart from 3 to 4 days ago, so I'm really happy with the result.
Now, with Circuit of America, a very demanding circuit, it does a lot on the tires. The track temperature was also reasonably high. Taking the data of tonight, is there any concern for tomorrow night for an hour and 20 minutes of battling around the circuit?
I'm going to have to break my promise to you, Stephen. I'm a very honest man. I usually don't like to break my promises, and I know I promised you I will not change tires once this season. Unfortunately, tomorrow night I will have to break my promise. There is zero chance that even if I drive slow that I will make the tires there. Obviously, I'll work on the setup a bit. It's not a track that I'm used to. So I'll definitely get some more tire wear into it for the end of every stint, but I don't think it's going to be a one tire set. Definitely not.
Yeah, well, when they say everything's bigger in Texas, the tire wear included, but still a tremendous effort on your part and some great racing on your part. Anything you would like to say to our amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro, to all the admin in the background, and also to the absolute petrol heads that watched you over the course of the weekend make a bit of history for yourself, and also now making a bit of history in the GT3 Sprint Series that's able to possibly move you up towards first, beating out your own teammate in the championship.
Yeah, thank you so much for everybody that's watching. I really appreciate all the things that you guys have been doing. It's actually nice to see one of the big boys back in town again. Obviously, it's them that you want to race against, the Henrys, the Barkes, and all of that, so you can have a benchmark, so it's always good. But to all the sponsors, Stephen, I know what you're doing in the back end. I know Hansi is not much for words. I know he does a lot in the back end as well, but I'll take my comments and speaking here because he can't keep me quiet, unfortunately. Sorry, Hansi. And I think it's all the amazing sponsors for making this happen. And yeah, I'll just keep growing and see where I lead to when we actually race against the big boys again.
Absolutely fantastic. Dean Norkia of PWSR taking second place this evening. Let's have a chat to third place, Johan Blicknote of the Omnius Gaming, to give us a bit of take on his race. Johan Blicknote, congratulations on your third place. What a race, and also a circuit that, going back in history, has not been your strongest of circuits to deal with.
Hi, Stephen. Yeah, was better than I expected. Loaded the wrong setup in the start. Tires were cooking on the end and not in the right way.
Well, it's always a bit of a tough one, and I mean, this circuit is some heavy tire wear, especially with the Mustangs. What was your game plan heading into the race, considering you now, if you loaded the wrong setup, that means there's a difference in tire wear, there's a difference in how the whole car behaves. What was the game plan then moving forward?
I was just using this now as RNG for tomorrow night's race. The Mustang behaved itself nice. I would have liked to see what it would have done with the correct pressures on the tires, but I kept the gap to Dean until maybe just past the middle of the stint, and then it started dropping off, and the Ferrari was just flickering his lights, waving goodbye.
Well, coming into this race, you were 9 points down on the likes of Gerrit Bucas. You managed to finish ahead of him by quite a substantial amount. He's only managing to get 7th. You got 3rd, possibly actually moving you up into 3rd in the championship. What's the game plan heading forward for round 7 and round 8 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series?
The next 2 races is a clean sheet in the book. No experience on it. I just hope the Mustang behaves well and I can keep my nose ahead of Gerard in the championship.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, looking at it, I'm really looking forward to what you can do. A AM driver to Pro-Am to now Pro, and really taking the fight to the front. Anything you would like to say to the amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro, to the admin, and also, most importantly, and we cannot stress this enough, the absolute petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands?
I would first of all just like to thank RaceFace for giving us this opportunity. Our sponsors, Switch Energy, AOC, Init, and Scalawags for giving us the opportunity. And the guys in the crowd, I saw you guys throw me with a piece of popcorn cart on the track. I'll get you back for this.
You see them on the corner, I'm going to get you, and the piece of rubber is going to go flying to the top of the stand. Jan Blicknote of the Ominous Gaming, congratulations on your third place, and well done on scoring some points and possibly taking third in the championship for now.
Cool. Thanks, Stephen. Have a good night.
You too. Absolutely great stuff. Well, with that being said, let's bring in our first place driver who ran away with 11 seconds over the competition, going back into the old school colors, Henry Mayer. Henry Mayer, welcome to the commentary box, and it looks like the Martians have landed 11 seconds ahead of the competition. How are you feeling after that one?
I just missed you, Stephen. We were taking a bit of a break from other stuff, so we thought we might come and show some eyes.
Well, definitely put a striking effort to it. Well, take us through the race. I mean, 11 seconds is not easy to pull on these incredibly quick drivers, but also you've then got a circuit that's highly demanding. How was the focus after 45 minutes around Kota?
Stephen, I was just taking it easy. I was actually chilling from the start, taking care of tires and everything.
Fair enough, fair enough. Just got to try and keep the momentum. Cool cat maneuvers, that's how it goes. Well, game plan heading into tomorrow night. Crucial data being taken from tonight, tire wear and such. What's your game plan moving forward?
Tomorrow you won't see me. I don't want to mix up or disturb a championship fight at this point. So I'll skip tomorrow. Maybe next week I'll be back for Alton again. But yeah, for now it was just good having fun.
Absolutely grand to hear. Well, before I let you go and enjoy the celebration, a well-deserved bubbly is down at the bottom. Anything you would like to say to the amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro, also to the admin team behind the scenes frantically working, Hansi Myberg, unfortunately, being on those admin team that ate the wall this evening, but also to our amazing petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands that come in and out every week to watch all the epic racing.
Yeah, just thanks to everyone watching. Thanks for Hansi and everyone behind the scenes. Hansi, thanks for letting us race at least. Yeah, and thanks to all the sponsors for making it possible. And thanks to you, Stephen.
I'll just sit here and I'll talk nonsense and have a laugh with the rest of the competition. But Henry Mayer, glad to have you. Sad to hear that you're not racing tomorrow, but looking forward to seeing you in the virtual grandstand, supporting on with your friends. And we will look forward to seeing you returning back to the circuit for some more amazing action.
Thank you, Stephen.
Henry Mayer of Martian Racing. The Martians have landed, folks, and definitely put on a big impact. And that's a great one to have them all here. But we had a chat to our top three, and what a top three it is. Blicknote, rookie that has really gone and improved over the course of the years. Well, I can't call him a rookie anymore. He's improved over the couple of years and has done a fantastic job in the likes of Dean O'Keefe transitioning from console to PC and putting the impact to the front, and Henry Mayer that even represented South Africa represented RaceFace in the community challenge, coming in to have a bit of fun here at Kota. Couple of drivers unfortunately didn't get to see the end, but hats off though to those that did, and especially I'm going to take my hat off, and a tip of the hat goes to Richard van Heerd and to Brandon Santos, both in my book getting driver of the day. One reconnecting after a disconnect, and Brandon Santos after getting a drive-through penalty plus putting a hole in the nose and the radiator, trying to get into the pits, trying to serve a drive-through. I mean, I take my hat off to him. Took twice the damage, went and landed up with a drive-through and still kept going. So well done to those drivers there. Absolutely great stuff, folks. But that does bring us to the end of tonight, and we are looking forward to tomorrow night with the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship Round 6 here at Kota. 1 hour and 20 minutes worth of racing. Who's going to be able to claw their way to the top and stand at the top of the charts? Well, that being said, we're in for an exciting one. Don't go anywhere, folks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon. Let us know about the race. Give us a like as well. Remember, you got to click it 3 times to say you didn't like it. So that like button, you click it 3 times, and that lets us know didn't quite enjoy it. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we would like to say thank you very much. Enjoy the celebrations here in Texas. Go and enjoy the Texas weather, and we'll see you tomorrow evening here at RaceFace.Pro. And like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.